I am a female protagonist in a television show. And I am another female protagonist in the same TV show. Maybe we should be friends. Friends? Absolutely not. Let's be lesbian lovers.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. So today I'm going to be reviewing House of the Dragon episode 6. I gotta adjust the light here. So let's get into this. So I'll address the elephant in the room because, and this will contain spoilers for episode 6 of House of the Dragon. If you don't want them, click away. Basically, the end of the episode ended with Rhaenyra and the chick who's been helping her this whole time. They kiss. They freaking kiss. No surprise there. I mean, like, I genuinely didn't see it coming, and then they had this moment that they kind of opened up to each other, and the chick who's been helping her opened up about her backstory, which was nice and tragic, and by nice, I mean not nice. And they had this moment, and my first original thought was, oh my gosh, that's such a cute friendship moment, and I really like them as friends. And then they hugged, and then the hug lasted a little longer, and then it basically shifted into this, like, lesbian makeout session. I don't understand why everything has to be, like, every character in every show has to be a lesbian. Like, LGBTQ stuff is just everywhere, but it's like, it's not even just, it's always a lesbian. Not that I really want gay people in it either, but there's no platonic friendships between characters anymore, and especially girls. Like, there's still some platonic friendships between guys, but even that's kind of like, do we really have platonic friendships anymore? But especially platonic friendships between two girls. Every time there are two girls on the screen, it has happened so much that I'm actually always wondering, are they going to make them lesbians? And then yes, they do. Like, why can't two girls ever just be friends anymore? I don't understand why they always have to be lesbians. It doesn't make any sense at all. And I genuinely liked Rhaenyra and this chick who's been helping her. I don't know her name, but they actually kind of formed this pretty decent friendship. It did feel, before the kiss, I didn't even know it was going to turn out to be a lesbian kiss. It took me by surprise. So before all that happened, there's a line that the chick who's been helping her says, like, you've always seen me as an equal. And I was like, well, that feels forced and very untrue. Because one, that's Rhaenyra's main problem, is that she's trying to get everybody around her to see her as queen. So right now she doesn't need to be seeing people as her equal. So that is also untrue, but it's also untrue in that, like, this chick was a prisoner and she made a deal with Rhaenyra and, like, kind of told her and made her kind of agree to this deal. And so it wasn't really like a, oh, I see you as my equal and I've always been kind to you and now you're going to give me your heart kind of moment. And so even when I first thought it was like a friendship thing, it felt like a forced friendship between them that I didn't see actually play out on screen. So while I was kind of like, oh, this could be the start of a good friendship, it felt forced in a way. And then when the kiss happened, it feels even worse than that. Like, I'm so upset and mad that there's no platonic friendships anymore, like in mainstream television, and it just, especially between girls, like, girl characters always end up being lesbians, like, every single flipping time, and I'm sick of it. I am sick of it. Girls can be friends with one another and not be lesbians. And I especially hate it with, like, when it happens to main characters like Rhaenyra. It happened in the chick to the 100, in the chick in the 100, and there's been other shows too, but I can't think off the top of my head, where they have a relationship with a guy and they have a bunch of drama with a guy character, and then all of a sudden they just turn lesbian. Like, not every straight woman who has a relationship with a man is going to suddenly become bisexual at random. That doesn't make any sense, especially when you have future Earth like in the 100, when you have a fantasy world like Game of Thrones, which does and has included gay characters and lesbian characters before. Don't get me wrong, they did have them. They were just, like, really rare and side characters that didn't really matter, thank goodness. But it's like, the character has given no indications that they've been that kind of person. Like, at least the lesbian chick from the original Game of Thrones, she kind of dressed like a man. She was very manly. She had a command over a fleet. So, and she was pretty open about kind of like being for everything. So for her to be, quote, bisexual, at least it made sense. Like, Rhaenyra has had a thing with Daemon. She's married to Daemon, so it's like, well, and then the excuse is like, well, she's not actually cheating because whatever. And so it's like, yeah, it's still cheating, but either way, it's like it doesn't make sense for the character. It is forced, it's convoluted. Just throw in a lesbian kiss so we can have a lesbian kiss. No two girls can be friends anymore. They always end up being lesbians. But now that rant is over, if you take that away, like skip through the scene like we did, like the end of the scene where the kiss happened, the whole episode was really, really good. So basically Rhaenyra is trying to find dragon riders for the 2 dragons that she has sleeping underneath her that don't have riders. And then there's one called Sea Smoke, which is a rider. I think the rider died. So she's got 3 dragons basically, and she needs them because she only has herself and her dragon, and then her son and his dragon, and she doesn't want to risk him, and she can't risk herself because she's the heir, because Daemon's off in Harrenhal having mental problems right now. So she really needs dragons and riders. So the plan was, which at the end of the last episode, which her son, it was a genius strategy. Go through the houses and find out which houses actually have Targaryen blood in them. Sorry about that. Go through the houses and find out which ones have Targaryen blood, and then get them to be riders, and see if the dragons will accept them. So that's basically what she does. She gets this guy who's a really honorable knight, and he's happy to serve her and risk his life and everything else. He feels honored. And so throughout the episode, they go down there into this pit where they have the other dragons, and they call forth Sea Smoke. It's a wonderful scene. Sea Smoke looks so amazing. Like, I'm going to call it a her until we know for a fact that it's a guy. But the dragon it was a really cool scene. They had to sing and chant, so that was a little weird, but whatever, you're calling the dragon, waking her up. And then he kind of slowly approaches, so you kind of know he's probably going to get eaten or burned alive, but you don't know for sure. And then it's hilarious, like Sea Smoke's like, yeah, and she kind of like turns her body and holds up the saddle, and it's kind of like she's inviting him, like, yep, come on. And then she just turns and burns him, and it's a wonderful scene. Like, it was fun. And I love the way that the dragons are acting. And one thing that my sister pointed out, like, she is a vet tech, so she really understands a lot of animal behavior, especially like general animals. And so the dragons genuinely have that body language of like an animal responding to certain situations. And then the sounds that they make are so cool. Like, Caraxes is Daemon's dragon. And we have had a couple of scenes where Caraxes has been in a scene and he makes these sounds, and they sound like chirps and roars and just these beautiful haunting sounds. It's so immersive, and it makes me want dragons to be real. And I just got through reading Fourth Wing, and I'm writing my own dragon stuff right now, and then I'm watching House of the Dragon and Iron Flame, which I'm not as into, but still, it's just like I'm in such a dragon mood. I want dragons to be real. So I love the dragons, and they're including them so much. Like, the whole plot right now with Rhaenyra is that she needs dragon riders for her dragons because she needs more dragons to stand up against the other, the bad guys. So basically the other thing that's going on is the chick who's helping her, that she had a lesbian kiss with, has sent her agents to kind of like talk to the people in King's Landing and like convince them that Rhaenyra is basically good and everything. And right now there's a blockade, so they're starving, and Aemond is taking over the throne while his brother is burned and injured and all that stuff. And Aemond is ignoring the council. He's very controlling, and like strategically he makes a better king than his brother, but he is ruthless and commanding, and he doesn't really listen to anybody. He kicked his mom off the council, so that was some drama that was going on with her. And he's not really helping the people, and they're starving, and he just thinks that, it's just going to be fine. So while they're starving, and it's kind of like setting up kind of a riot on Rhaenyra's behalf, which is really great. It's a really great strategy. They had some really good lines, and I cannot praise the dialogue in this show enough. Like, it feels very otherworldly, fantasy, old Shakespearean. Like, I love the way that the characters talk. The dialogue is so good and so immersive. You honestly, genuinely feel like it's another fantasy world. And then the accents really also set it apart, as you feel like these characters live in the same world, but like with different cultures and regions and stuff like that. So the plan with her was Rhaenyra, basically they sent these small little boats with her flag on them with food. So she's feeding the people that Aemond is not feeding, and it's kind of like the spark that lights a flame of rebellion on her behalf. So that's kind of what she's got going for her right now. Damon is still in Harrenhal, and he's going mad. He is absolutely going mad. So I thought the witch was doing it to him. It's kind of obvious that she is, but like he doesn't know that. He asked her for help on how he could get these two fighting houses to agree, and she's like, just wait for 3 days. So the 3 days go by, and you hear word that the Lord guy, who was the only man who could have taken both of these houses, gotten them to get along and go to war, he died. His young son takes over. So you kind of get the feeling that, okay, that's what she was meaning. And you hear word that she actually went to go help heal him because she's a quote healer. Well, she probably killed him, so that's kind of implied. He's still going mad. A lot of his nightmares in this one were like focused on his brother, and you can kind of tell like the metaphorical symbolism of the regrets that he has. Like he is going through some of his memories, but they're like warped, and like how he made the mistake of not being there for his brother when the king lost his wife and his baby, when he made a comment about his baby, and his brother was so mad he like changed him from being the heir so that he wouldn't be the heir anymore. And in that scene, like he was locked in the throne room and couldn't get out, so it was almost like he's locked in with his regrets, and he needs to get his crap together because his chick needs him to help fight. Basically, like his wife literally needs him to help him fight. She needs his dragon, she needs him, and now she's turning into a lesbian, so she really needs him to get over there and swoop back in and save the day and the show and her character and everything. But, did I miss anything? Yeah, so Rhaenyra, her council's still doubting her. She slapped one of the guys because he said something that made her mad, and they don't fear her anymore. Her son's kind of doubting her. And then Sea Smoke flew off after Sea Smoke burned the night guy, and so you're kind of like, okay, what's going to happen with her? Well, the Sea Snake guy, who is in control of the fleet and the ships for Rhaenyra's side, there's two guys that kind of implied that they're his illegitimate sons, and he wants one of them to be on his fleet and to help him and everything else, and the other one just kind of wants to be acknowledged. The two brothers have this conversation, and so there's been a few scenes with them throughout the show that seems like it's setting up a plot with maybe one of them being his heir, because he needs kind of an heir for the his fleet and everything, because he asked the other chick, and she's a dragon rider, and needs to be somebody of salt in the sea or something like that, like with sea in their blood. And so it's setting up we think it's his illegitimate sons. It's setting them up. Well, Sea Smoke randomly flies and attacks the beach and starts chasing after him. And then she lands in front of him and he's freaking out, probably thinks he's going to die. And I think he's going to be the rider. Like, Sea Smoke is basically like, Rhaenyra, you gave me this guy who's not a true Valyrian, a true Targaryen rider, and basically flies off to go find one. And so she finds him, so I think it's going to be really cool that he is her dragon. And since he's with the Sea Snake guy, who is Rhaenyra's hand of the queen, it stands to reason that he will become the flyer. I hope so. Speaking of other dragon riders, so Sea Snake's other granddaughter, not the dragon rider, but the one that Rhaenyra sent her away with her younger children and the young dragons, to the Vale. So she's been there with the Vale, and she's walking and talking with one of Rhaenyra's children who misses his mother, and they see this burned area. And at first, my sister and I thought that Sea Smoke had flown there, and that Sea Smoke was going to bond with her. She's one of the Targaryens that hasn't bonded, and she's really upset and feels like she's useless and stuff because she hasn't bonded with a dragon. Well, when she's talking to the chick, the Vale lady, basically we discovered that the Vale has actually had a dragon that's been flying around. He's a really big one, a really wild one, and she tells the Vale lady, like, you lied to me, and she's like, well, he's a wild dragon, that kind of thing. So maybe we're suspecting that she's finally going to get to bond with a dragon, and it's going to be this wild dragon, so potentially that one, and then potentially Sea Smoke with the Sea Snake guy's illegitimate sons, him, who is also the one that wants to be acknowledged and hasn't really been. The other one is the one that the Sea Snake guy wants in his fleet, because you have two brothers. I think the dragon one that may bond with Sea Smoke, I think his name is Adam, and then the other one's gonna go on the ship with the Sea Snake. So a lot's going on. This was my first one that I actually broke down as much as I could remember, so it's kind of a breakdown, but kind of my thoughts. So overall, I love this episode. 5 stars. It's so good. And then they just threw in a lesbian kiss when it should have been a platonic friendship, and it's like, what happened to girls actually having girls as friends? Platonic friendships, y'all. Not every girl who's a friend with a girl has to end up being lesbians or bisexual, especially if the girl is a main protagonist who has a guy lover, a guy drama lover romance thing going for her. What? It doesn't even... I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. But the overall, if you take that out, the whole episode was a 5-star episode because there wasn't any sexual content even. Like, that kiss was the main thing, and we skipped through it, but I'm pretty sure it was just a kiss. Like, because I think they got interrupted at the end of the scene anyway. So, I mean, it's just like, I hate it. Ugh. Platonic friendships, people. We need more platonic friendships in media today. And less lesbians. Like, every girl character is a lesbian now, and I hate it. Rant over. That is my thoughts. 5-star episode. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, and please be sure to keep it respectful on my opinions and anybody else's opinions on the show and the events and things that happen in the show, whether we like or dislike things. So keep the comments respectful, but let me know what you guys think. The dragon stuff is so cool, and I love that they're doing so much more with the dragons in this season compared to last season. Like, I need a dragon, and I want a dragon, and I want a dragon to be real. So bad. If you liked this video, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe for more writing and reading videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And in the meantime, if you like my review of episode 6 of House of the Dragon, then check out my review of the next one, which will be out next week. It'll be here as a premiere, so check that out. You don't want to miss it. The show is getting so good, minus lesbian lovers, but it's still really good.